Nearly everyone has some familiarity with the term geography, but a lot of times the common conceptions of a word like geography might not line up with what you actually study in a geography class. It might not be the case everywhere in the world, but most Americans don't get exposure to geography as an academic discipline until college. In this brief video, I want to give a brief background to the academic field of geography and hopefully clear up some of the misconceptions about what geography is before getting to my preferred definition of geography. In my experience, a lot of people think geography is knowing where things are. So being able to fill in a map like this with different features, just from memory, being able to put what countries are where mountains are, rivers, capital cities, knowing what the biggest mountain is or the biggest river. In England, there's kind of a common joke that if you study geography, you just color in maps like this and label maps like this, just showing that you know where things are. But thinking of geography as just knowing where things are is kind of like thinking of biology as knowing all the different animal species, or thinking of chemistry as knowing the periodic table and everything on it. It's useful for a chemist or biologist to know these things, to know animal species or elements in the periodic table, but that's not really what doing chemistry or studying biology are. That's not what those things are. There's a lot more to it than that in geography. So a basic definition that I'll expand on a little bit later is that geography isn't about knowing where things are. Geography is about thinking about why things are where they are. So if you think back to those examples of things you might want to put on this map, thinking about why things are where they are, so why mountains are where they are, why rivers are where they are, why certain cities are capital cities, and why do they exist where they do, that can get a lot more complicated really quickly. And that can include the study of a wide range of different things beyond knowing where things are. So I'm going to rewind a little bit to the origins of the discipline before expanding on this definition a little bit more. Even though people from all cultures cataloged and shared geographic knowledge from the earliest days of humanity, geography as a discipline and the word geography itself was invented by the Greeks. If you think back to those Greek roots you may have learned in high school English, what is geo? Geo is earth. Like geology, they share the same root even though they're a different study. What about graphy? Graphy, or graph, is the Greek root. It relates to writing about something or giving a description of something. So ology, like geology, is more specific to an area of scientific study. Graphy is the description of that thing. So geography would be the description or cataloging of things and features on Earth's surface. Back in the time of the Greeks, the two kind of foundational areas of study for organizing the world were history and geography. So we had history to classify things that occurred over time, things and phenomenon, whereas geography classified these things or phenomenon over space. Together, they kind of encapsulated the knowledge that the Greeks had of the world. So this discipline grew in Greek and then Roman times as a way to order new spatial information. Big books were published that were called the geographies, and they explained different areas of the world. The map in the top right was an early map of the Greek world, and geography books would have filled in the details, giving information about all these places that were labeled on a map like this. Why would maps and books on geography be useful to Greeks and Romans? Well, Greeks were one of the early civilizations that focused on territorial expansion. We had explorers logging basic information on where they're going to. We had settlers settling new regions, and invading soldiers that benefited from understanding where they were moving to. All these groups needed to know about the natural and human landscapes of the places they were traveling to. So what landscapes were in the way? Was there mountain range there? Or what could be helpful for movement of troops or for invading? Where are certain resources? Where could crops be grown? Where are the good soils? Where might flood in the future? What factors might be in a given place that allow for high population density, increased number of settlers and farmers, or the growth of cities? Knowing all these things, natural resources, spatial layouts, plant and animal species, climate in different places, that's really important when you're trying to run or expand an empire. Modern geography is a little different in focus. Through the 1700s and 1800s, geography became an established academic discipline in the universities of Europe. This corresponded also with the age of European exploration, expansion, and empire. Like the Greeks before them, they needed to understand new places. But it evolved to become the study of spatial distributions and dimensions of phenomenon on Earth rather than just the cataloging of those things. And that has led to what I think is a better definition of the academic field of geography. And this is just drawn from an article from the National Geographic Society, but I really like this one, and I think it really encapsulates what geographers actually look at and what they do. So not just a log of what things are where, but where things are, why they're there, and how they develop and change over time. Also, how things differ from place to place. So looking at geography this way, we're looking more at a discipline that includes a wide variety of things that can be studied. If you like substitute, different items for where it says things in that definition, you can look at economic geography, how countries trade, where different industries develop, cultural geography, how cultures or religion, food, language all differ, why they exist in different places, how they have developed and changed in those places. Of course, landforms are really important to physical geography. This is based in geology, and a lot of it's studied in geology, but what's the layout of geologic features and processes on Earth's surface? Why are certain features where? Why are those rivers where they are? Why are mountains where they are? Why are different erosional features, canyons, hoodoos, all these different things, sand dunes, why are they where they are? Then hydrology, where water comes from, where it goes, how it changes the landscape. So I think this definition does a great job of expanding it to really look at everything that geography really considers. So now with this broad definition, we're going to zoom in a little bit on a few more specific details going forward. But first, I want to use randomstreetview.com, really like this webpage, to look at a couple different places on Earth and think about how a geographer would view these places and think about what kind of questions a geographer might ask.